Hotep, I am the Amen Osiris, excuse me, the one and only undisputed God of law. We are Deception Stoppers, America's only child support education service. I am not a lawyer. This is not a law firm. We don't advocate that you don't support your human offspring. We simply advocate that you made them in private, raise them, and take care of them in private. And today, what I'm going to expound upon, you already know I'm going hard on the Social Security number. But what I'm going to do, gentlemen, is your mind is like a parachute. It only works when you open it. And I am one who, and probably I'm consistently telling you, take their information and use it against them, and you can't go wrong. Okay. For those of you, real fast before I even get into the presentation, for those of you who are married, okay, paternity establishment is it's by default. All right, if you were married when the children was born, or when the children was conceived, or within 300 days after the marriage was terminated for any reason. Now, this is Tennessee's. Tennessee law states your husband is the legal father of your children. So when you get married and you allow her to bear your seed, you're automatically, that is a voluntary acknowledgement of paternity. Voluntary acknowledgement of paternity creates a legal father. A legal father agrees, in this case, by default, to be financially responsible for those children who are the property of the Social Security Administration. Okay, pay rent. Now, getting back to this, I'm going to show you, and I've told you in a video or two ago, that Title 4D relies on what's called federal matching systems. Okay, and those federal matching systems is what they use. Those federal that's what they use the Social Security number. Okay, that's why the Social Security number is so important. We're going to get into that today. All right, and what I'm going to show you here, all right, if you really look at it, all right, and another thing, gentlemen, common sense. Use common sense. Okay, common is like grass is common. Everybody sees grass. It's all over the place. It's not rare. All right. One of the gifts that you were given was common sense. Okay. And just use it. All right. So think of this as a common sense ministry. All right. That's exactly what this is. So we're going to take this application. And again, gentlemen, you can use whatever state application. I just happen to like how Tennessee's is worded. All right. And it is perfect. Some states put it out there. Okay. And it's right in front of your face. And most people never pick it up in a million years. That is why I'm always looking at their documents. Okay. If you want to learn how these people are operating, go directly to their source. This section right here is the most critical part of the application, and here's why. Okay, got a little stuff up here, you know, Department of Health and Human Services, but this right here, this is the meat, because without this, this will never happen. I can guarantee that. All right, so you'll notice it says, no, each individual Social Security number is a critical part of case processing. All right, we're going to get that, but it's critical. Based on A13 of the Social Security Act, 666 A13, you are required to disclose Social Security numbers to the child support agency. Why? Okay, you're not physically required to disclose that card to the agency. Without that card, the agency cannot function. It cannot match anything to you. All right, and guess what? There's no non-custodial pay rent. Okay, they will be used by the state's child support enforcement program to locate individual pay rents, individuals, which is an artificial person, for the purpose of establishing paternity and establishing and modifying and enforcing child support. All right, so that's what they're used for in this sense. Okay, this is not a benefit that the Social Security Administration is offering. This is a slavery that they're offering. Okay, but in other words, like if a woman goes to apply for child support, she doesn't give them a Social Security number. Again, they can't get a case. Okay, all right, they cannot initiate a case for her, and if they cannot find the Social Security number of the asset or the property that they're seeking, all right, that means they can't force a man, all right, to become the commercial energy that supplies the debt for that card. Okay. Without it, they have nothing. Okay. Now, I have never ever told anybody to give up the Social Security number. I'm simply telling you here, all right, what they're using it for. Okay. If you don't want to be subject to something, stop filling out state applications. Stop using the social security number. All right. The less you use it, the better you are. But if you're in the system, it's a wrap. All right. Nothing personal, gentlemen. That's just how it is. That's a decision. Okay. It doesn't mean that you live under a rock. It just means that you learn to live outside of whatever, the government. And trust me, brother, there's 20 billion ways to do that. I can't stand the government. Again, I told you, I'd rather have I've said it before, I'd rather spend a night at Jeffrey Dahmer's house. I would, if such a creature called Satan or the devil existed, I would believe him before I believed child support. That's about as real as it gets. Okay? So this card is used to create, all right, and enforce support obligations. Okay. Now down here it says it is possible that the SSN and those of the children will be used. They have to use them because it tells you up here it's a critical part and they're required. Okay. So look at the words. It is possible. No. All right. You see how they switch it up down here? Now it says the alternate residential parent. Resident. What is that? Identified property. Parents. SSN. There it is. The key piece of information is necessary to properly identify that pay rent. And before I go any further, let me show you this. Do I still have it up? I think I do. Oh man, I hope I didn't. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. What'd I do with it? Oh wow, I must have took it down. All right. Anyway, it clearly tells you, all right, that you are not supposed to use the social security number as an identification. Okay. You're not supposed to do it. Okay. I will show you that in another video because I don't have time to go back and pull it back up. All right. I do have it on hard copy, but it's easier to show it to you on this video. All right. But the fact of the matter is they're identifying, look, the residential pay rents. SSN is necessary to properly identify that pay rent. So if the SSN is properly identifying a non-custodial pay rent, then that is the absolute property of the Social Security Administration. All right, now look, right here, for the purpose of locating him/her for submitting cases for the Treasury Offset Program and for other child support enforcement activities. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's talk about these child support enforcement activities and how the Social Security card name and number is actually providing them the ability to use those remedies. Okay. Now, I'm labeling this the legal consequences that arise from paternity require the SSN to be effective. Okay. Now, I've already did a small dissertation, but what I'm going to do is, all right, I gave it to you the other day, but I'm going to give it to you in a different way today. Okay. All right. I'm still giving you filet mignon. I'm just cooking it different. And I'm trying to give you another way of looking. All right. Remember, there's more than one way to skin a cat. All right. So open your mind. Open your mind. All right. Now, 42 USC 666A5CI, procedures for a simple civil process for voluntarily acknowledging paternity, under which the state must provide that before you sign the acknowledgement of paternity, marriage license, gave DNA, or adopted a child, or even now these days donated your sperm, you must be given notice orally or through the use of video or audio equipment and in writing of the following legal consequences that arise from signing the license or acknowledgement. Okay? And literally, this would apply to any, in other words, if whatever license that they're requiring you, check this out. Where'd it go? All right. Remember, Congress, if they want, Congress gave these people, all right, some shit on you, right? Let me slide down to this other page. Hold on. All right. So if Congress gave access to new sources for obtaining Social Security numbers, all right, so that means the states are required to obtain that for any application of professional, driver's, occupational, recreation, or marriage license be recorded on the application, but not on the face of the license itself. Okay. And it says, look, any individual subject to divorce decree, support order, or paternity determination or acknowledgement be placed in the record. All right, there it is. So here's the thing, okay? If you must be given notice, orally or through the use of video audio equipment and in writing, of the following legal consequences that arise from signing the license or acknowledgement, what it should say is by putting a social security number on. All right, they're not telling you we're going to use this. They're not telling you what they're going to use the social security number for. They don't want you to know that. Okay? If they told you what they were going to use that social security number for, would you give it to them? Think about that. All right, nobody can physically require you to provide that number or that name. All right, the minute you provide that number, all right, you're automatically associating the name that's on the social security card with that number. That is their property. You're consenting and saying, yes, I am their property every time you use that on that document, on one of these documents. But there's no due process there, is there? No man shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property unless by due process of law. So when they're using this social security number, right, which you're thinking, what? Yeah, man, I gotta have it to get a job. That's and child support, that's not what it's for, baby. Okay? It's tracking their property. The SSN is the key piece of information around which the child support information is constructed. Okay? Key, property. Okay? Without this property, they got no key. Most computer searches need the SSN in order to operate effectively. That's wrong. All. And I'm going to show you one. I'm going to prove that to you. Okay? So this is the definition of child support enforcement. This is from the Federal Glossary of Common Child Support Terms. Gentlemen, get that book. This is the definition of enforcement. The application of remedies, okay, to obtain payment of child or medical support obligations contained in a child or spousal support order. Okay. Now, don't worry about these right now because we're gonna get to that. Okay. The process that can be used to collect payments from the non-custodial parent, who is identified by a social security number, which is the property of the Social Security Administration, or to require compliance with some other provision. So in other words, either they're going to collect this way or they're going to use it to get you to comply. All right, we're going to suspend your driver's license. Okay. Oh man, I need my driver's license. I'm a truck driver. All right, well then you either come down here and pay us something or we're going to shut your shit down. Okay. That's how they require compliance. They basically kidnap the shit that you're using to live. The job, the bank account, the driver's license, the CDL, all right, the commercial, maybe, whatever other license, not the marriage license though. All right, but your fishing license, your real estate license, okay, that's what they're doing there. They're kidnapping those. Well, because they know that you use them to make a living and they know that you can't live without them. Mark of the fucking beast, daddy. Common sense. Let's continue. Now, let me go back. We're going to use the Social Security application. And I want you to listen to me very carefully. We may also, look at the wording, listen to the wording. We may. What does the word may mean? It doesn't say we will, it says we may. Also use the information you provide in computer matching programs. Matching programs compare our records with records kept by other federal, state, or local government agencies. Okay? Information from these matching programs can be used to establish or verify a person's eligibility for federally funded or administered benefits. Okay, that's your retirement and disability and Social Security, unemployment. All right, those are benefit programs. And for the repayment of payments or delinquent debts under these programs. Okay. Now I've already read you the master file. They already admit that in that master file that they give the Social Security Administration gives the Child Support Agency that information. And now let's go into why. We're going to talk about these matching programs. Okay. Federal Case Registry, a national database of information on what? Individuals in all 4D cases. So who's that individual? That is the non-custodial pay rent, right? Check this out. And all non-4D orders entered or modified on after 1998. The Federal Case Registry receives this case information on a daily basis from the state case registry located in every state and proactively matches it with previous submissions to the Federal Case Registry and with employment information contained in the National Directory of New Hires. That is one of the first one. Every time you go and get a new job and they hire you, they are required by federal law to register that information, your private information that you put on that application, namely the Social Security number and the name attached to it, okay? That's a matching program, okay? That's how they find where you work, okay? Then, Then any successful matches are returned to the appropriate states for processing. The Federal Case Registry and the National Directory of New Hires are both part of the Federal Parent Locator Service maintained by who? The Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement, a foreign corporation, okay? Here's the next one. Financial Institute Data Match, a process whereby information on accounts held by banks, savings and loan companies, brokerage houses, and other financial institutions is matched against child support obligors who owe past due arrearages. This is how they find your bank account. And remember, the Federal Office of Child Support has a contract with every bank in the state for them to give you the information. Go down to your bank and ask them to see that contract that they agreed to give to relinquish your bank account, all right, to the child support agency. See if you can't sue them for fraud. So it's a matching system, gentlemen. Okay, that is why the Social Security number is required. That is why it is a critical piece of information. Without it, there's no obligor, and without it, okay, without you locating you as connected to it, there's no surety or commercial energy that can be added to it. Without your commercial energy, gentlemen, the non-custodial pay rent or obligor, whatever you want to call it, cannot exist. Okay, they cannot collect. You tired of them garnishing your wages? All right. Open your own business, go cash only. Problem solved. One of them anyway. All right. So we're going to keep it moving down here. Now let's check this out. Now we already know you got the financial, all right, you got the Federal Case Registry, all right, you got the National Directories of New Hires, you got the Federal Parent Locator. You notice it says Federal Parent Locator, all right, and you got the Financial Institution Data Match. Let's see how they use all this technology and why. All right, why the computer system cannot work without it. Wage withholding. Oops, there's supposed to be a second one there. All right, wage withholding. Very first thing they do. How do they do that? National Director of New Hires, Federal Parent Locator Service. Liens on property. If you legally own any property, there's going to be a Social Security number on it. All right, that's going to be going through the bank. Financial Institution Data Match. Okay. Offset of unemployment compensation payments. What do you need to get unemployment, gentlemen? Social Security number. Seizure of sale of personal or real property. Again, if you own any personal property, 98% of you, and when I say personal or real property, I mean like these are houses, cars that are in that name with a Social Security attached to it. Okay. Reporting arrears to credit agencies. What is the credit agency poke its defamation on? The Social Security number. Seizure of state and federal income tax, refunds, Social Security number. Don't you file taxes? Don't you put a Social Security number on there? When you got that job, didn't you fill out that form and put a Social Security number on that form at orientation? Seizure, revocation of various types of licenses. Okay, again, gentlemen, Social Security number, I already showed you that, is required to get any type of these license from the state. It also gives the state jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction over you for filling out that application. Attachment of lottery winnings and insurance settlements of debtor parents. For anything lottery, all right, over $10,000, you got to show a ID, which requires a Social Security card. Insurance settlements requires an ID and a Social Security number. And all right, and a parent, that says debtor parents. All right, so if it's a pay rent, you already know the pay rent is what? Identified by the Social Security number. Requirements that recipients of financial assistance from the Small Business Administration, including direct loans and loan guarantees. What do you need to get a loan, gentlemen? Social Security number. Must certify that the recipient is not less 60 days, is not more than 60 days delinquent in the payment of child support. Social Security number. Okay. The recipient, who's the recipient? The recipient is the surety or the commercial energy for that child support payment. Okay. The Social Security Administration is responsible for it, but you just keep being surety for it. The commercial energy. Okay. Authorization to seize assets held by public or private retirement funds. Gentlemen, retirement is what? Look, and financial institution, financial data matching. All right, Social Security. If you are holding any of these things, there is a Social Security number attached to it. Deprivation of a debtor to a fresh start to discharge a debt completely, pay a percentage of the debt, or pay the full amount of the debt over a long period of time, because debts for child support and alimony are not dischargeable. So in other words, you cannot file a bankruptcy on it. What do you need to file a bankruptcy? Social Security number. State or federal imprisonment, fines, or both. Okay. The first thing, if you've never been to jail, all right, the what do you call that? The inmate is positively identified by a Social Security number. Okay. Everything here is subject and used with a Social Security number. That is why it is the most crucial piece of information. Without a Social Security number, they can't withhold the wages. They can't do any of this. They have to have it. Without it, they got nothing. Okay? You are providing commercial energy through use of that Social Security number. You didn't know it. They didn't tell you. Okay? Nobody told you this. But again, when you fill out an application of any sort in the state and you attach a Social Security number, all right, under the procedures. All right, and you ain't even, look, I'll take this out. Go to due process, Fifth Amendment, and the due process at the state that you dwell. All right, no man shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property unless by due process of law. So let me ask you a question. Aren't the wages that you honestly acquire your property? Isn't the property you honestly acquired your property? Okay. The unemployment compensation. Well, you worked for it. Okay. The only difference is it's coming from them. Okay, but all of this, so right here, seizure and sale of personal property. Well, wait a minute. Where's the due process here? All right, I'll say that the unemployment compensation, and I'll even say the income tax refunds, and that's questionable because it's coming from them. All right, technically it's their property, you're working for it. But when it comes to your other property, that personal property or real property, all right, and your wages, okay? There has to be due process here. This is your property. Your wages that you honestly acquire are your property. Read the case of Bud versus the people of New York, okay? It tells you that money that a man honestly acquires, he retains full control of unless he devotes it to public use. Every time you're filling out, all right, so in other words, as long as you don't devote it for public use, okay, every time you fill out one of these applications, you're devoting it for public use. And they can take it. But if you don't do that, you retain full control of your money. You do not have to use it for your neighbor's benefit, nor are you going to use it for your neighbor's injury. That's it. One of those things. What you do with your money is your business. But when you give it away when you sign that SSN number on a document, you're actually giving it to them. You're saying, here, you can take it for public use. But it's still a due process issue because they're supposed to tell you. All right? Just so you know, this information is going to be used to collect, find you, and take child support on you. It could possibly send you to jail. We can take your property. We can take your unemployment. We can, federal or state and prison fines or both. You can't get bankruptcy. All right. We're going to take your retirement. We're going to take your lottery winnings, your insurance claims. All right, we're going to take all of it. Think about that. Would you really have put that number down, or would you have thought about it? I'm the Amen Osiris. Due process, gentlemen, is a deprivation of right under color of law. Okay? If you are suffering from these 4D remedies, which they are utilizing, okay, number one, someone has duped you into being the commercial entity, which is the surety for someone else's property. Okay? Now, the only way you could do that is if let's say you rent a house and the guy gives you the lease. All right, you guys are kicking it, and you agree, and you don't even bother reading the lease, and you sign that lease. But a clause in that lease says, as a tenant of this home, you agree to pay all of the property taxes associated there too. Okay. Then, when the property taxes don't get paid, the landlord's going to take you to court. And you're going to say, I'm not responsible for these taxes. Well, did you sign this lease? Yeah. Okay. It says here on line 26 that you agree to do so. All right. Always read it. Always read, gentlemen, before you sign anything. But more importantly, use this information, gentlemen. All right. This is another deadly Title 4D technique. This is, again, exploding heart, 5-point palm exploding heart technique. Use it. Who told you what they was going to be using that Social Security number for? Look, and the other thing is, did the Social Security Administration inform you of that? Did the Social Security Administration? They did, all right, but the average Johnny Donut will never take the time to look this up, okay? That's why I'm showing it to you. Again, another look, using their information. Can they deny this now? No, they cannot, okay? They tell you what they use this for, but guess what? It's vague. All right. Well, we use it for federal matching programs. Okay. To administer benefit programs and for repayment of payment or delinquent debts under these programs. Well, what programs are you talking about? It don't say nothing about no child support here. Now, but it does tell you if you want to find out the complete routine use of it, you go right here. I already showed you that. And they tell you, the Social Security Administration tells you, yes, we're giving this to the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement to locate obligors who owe child support. All right, but it's still vague. It's still a due process violation. When you filled out that marriage license, when you filled out that driver's license or recreation, whatever license you got, when you fill it out, does that license say anything about what that Social Security number is going to be used for and why it's required? Are you aware that the state is not required to use the Social Security number for their driver's license or their driver's license program? All right. This is the only way. Look, do your research. Okay? Do your research. No man shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property unless by due process of law. Okay? And again, I don't care what's his name you go to. Okay, look, for state use only. Look, Social Security number. This is for the applicant. Look, here's all right, this is wait a minute. Information about the primary residential parent. All right, this is the custodial parent. Look, last name, first name, maiden name. Where's it at? Social Security number. Right there. Okay. Sex, not lately. Look, date of birth, email address. And here's the funny part. Look, city, what is a city? Corporation. State, what is a state? Corporation. Zip code identifies a federal revenue district. County is a corporation. It's a corporate document here. Okay. Slide down here. Same thing. Zip code, state, county. Got to look at your words, gentlemen. Now, let's see here. I want to get down to the information about the custodial pay rent. Here it is. Last name, first name, cell phone. Where's it at? There it is. Look, Social Security number. Okay, let's go down to the children. And look, again, Federal Revenue District. Now, technically, you could use this application. I've heard people say, yeah, she put your name on an application. Technically, that's not your name, okay? But this is a rebuttable presumption. Did she fill out an application? Yes. Okay. Can you prove that that's my name? All right. Can you prove that I reside in the Federal Revenue District? All right. All right. So look, is mail delivered to this address? Bam. Federal Revenue District, gentlemen. Common sense. Okay. Birth date. Look, driver's license number. Okay. Alternate parent. And again, let's see. Look, car. Car is usually red. Look, license plate number. Who's that going to come back to? Okay, let me ask you a question, gentlemen. Look, this is what I want to tell you. The license plate number identifies what? That's the vehicle registration, and it'll come back to the what? The owner of that vehicle. Think of the social security number as a license plate number. Again, if there's a ticket that's put on that license plate number, it's going to go to the owner, not to the person who was driving the car. Okay? If there's a fine placed on that property for whatever, that fine's going to the owner. It ain't going to the tenant. Okay? So think of the social security number as the license plate number. And because if you trace it, it's going to go back to the owner, Social Security Administration. Okay? All right. And let's see. I want to see if do they have the kids on here? There it is. Look. Child's last name, social security number. So this name, the last name, first name, and middle name are found on the social security number. That's identified as property. Okay. A name is a designation of a human being or firm or corporation. A human being's name consists of one or more given Christian names, which is your first name, and a family name. All right. Human beings do not have last names. So if a human being has a last name, if a human being has a family name, who does the last name belong to? All right. The name is a designation of a firm or a human being or a corporation. Which one is it? So if the human being has a family name, then the last name or the legal name, all right, belongs to the corporation. That's why they always ask, what's the first thing they ask for? Name. Look right here, name, social security number. This is backing it up. You're backing up what's being said here. You're identifying their property by their license plate number. I'm the Amen Osiris. I am the God of law. Gentlemen, if you want to be properly educated, all right, in this 4D chicanery, all right, the information is right in front of you. All right, by now, there should be no child support in this country. Okay? We are an education service. We don't sit here and talk about, being pimps and pimping hoes. All right? And call our mama hoes and all stuff like that, which is cool. All right? Because a pimp is a pimp and nobody's knocking that. All right? But you can't walk into a 4D hearing or write paperwork based off of pimp technology. All right? Pimp technology is for the street. Hell, I'm a pimp. We all are pimps. We got bitches, okay? But that ain't gonna work in court, okay? Walking in court with a hard dick trying to get a female judge to look at your dick that's just ludicrous. Walking in someplace with the proper education, okay, and the proper knowledge, and more importantly, the proof right here, which you'll have in your hand. Gentlemen, anything I show you, you can take in court and you can prove it now. You can prove it now. You can prove where the word pay rent comes from. You can prove that you've been committing the commercial energy for the license plate, the social security number. You're the holder. You can prove anything, and all you got to do is use the information that's available to you. How hard is that? It's not complicated. All I did was take one thing and I showed it to you on another common sense level. And now you know that you know that you know. Check this out. See, everybody knows about all this, but you didn't know why, where it came from. How do they do it? This is how they do it. And it's all done, look, through the Social Security number. Okay? That's the key piece of information. They need that property. Okay? They need you to be surety for this property. That's what they need you to do. They need you to say and succeed, yes, I'm accepting your mail. I'm in a Federal Revenue District. I am succeeding my status from man de-evolution of title to property to the non-custodial parent. I'm accepting male under the form of capitis diminutia maxima, using the all caps name. And for those of you who don't know what that means, all right, and this is some real slick shit too. And it's not straw man theory, gentlemen. It's just, these are facts, okay? It's not about the straw man. It's about what you're consenting to be surety for. You're creating this commercial energy. Capitis diminutia maxima. When that male comes, that obligor's name is going to be spelled in all capital letters. And if it's not, all right, worst case scenario, if it's not, okay, but I can guarantee you 99% of the time, when that directory, that male goes to the non-custodial parent, that name is going to be spelled in all capital letters, just like it is on the Social Security card. All right, that license plate number identifies the obligor, the Social Security number. Okay, when you accept and use this name, this is the highest or most comprehensive loss of status. This occurred when a man's condition was changed from one of freedom to one of bondage when he became a slave. Okay? By you using that Social Security card, all right, and then with you're agreeing to be the surety or the commercial energy for that card, they're holding you liable for that shit. Okay? You don't owe child support. You don't owe nothing. See, they like to hide it. Yeah, you got to do to pay child support. No. What you're doing is you're being surety for a debt that should have never existed in the first place. And more importantly, when you run that license plate, it goes back to the owner of the Social Security Administration, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. They're responsible for that ticket, not you. All right. But when you accept mail, check out. Look at the driver's license. Look at the credit cards. Look at the light bill. Look at the mortgage payments. Look at the insurance bill. 98% of the time, all those names are going to come in all capital letters because they are connected to a social. You're just being surety for it. What you should be doing is discharging that debt in the same note out of the CUSIP account on the back of the card. However, horse of another color. But there, gentlemen, you got it. Okay. You can get the driver's license. You can get a marriage license. You can get the Social Security application. You can use all this against them people. Show me where the due process is. Show me where the information is that, you know what I mean? Where's the legal consequences? You never told me that you was going to use that Social Security number to inflict all this upon me. You never said that. Because if you'd have said it, gentlemen, would you have used it? All right. If you would have known this information before you, while you were applying for a driver's license or a marriage license or an insurance license or any other license from the state, would you have put the Social Security number on it? Knowing that this is, if it comes back a hit, this is what we're going to do to you. Now, they're telling you up front what they're going to do to you, but wouldn't you be nice to know if you knew this before you filled out the application? They're supposed to tell you this before you sign the voluntary acknowledgement of paternity. And it's incidentally, gentlemen, for those of you who say, well, I signed a birth certificate. You didn't sign a birth certificate. You signed an acknowledgement of paternity stating that you would be financially responsible for the state's property. Therefore, they put you on that property, that receipt, which was called the birth certificate. That allows, you're giving them permission to put your name on that birth certificate. A birth certificate is a warehouse receipt. It denotes an ownership claim. Who owns it? They do. You're paying rent on their property. God damn. This is education. Okay? This is education. Get your minds right, gentlemen. You want to be free? You better learn more ways to skin a cat. All right? And this is just basic stuff. I've been teaching you this for many years. I teach you the same thing. I just teach it in different manners. But more importantly, I'm trying to indulge in you to use your common sense on what you're really looking at. What's not there is important. It's just as important as what is there. This is important, but guess what? You find out this after you do all the applications and sign signatures and all that. You find it out after. You don't find this out before. This is a violation of due process. Okay? Not that 14th Amendment slave due process bullshit. The 5th Amendment. Again, no man shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property unless by due process of law. You also have the privilege of self-incrimination. So and you're waiving that right, that you have the right to not self-incriminate. But every time you fill out an application, you're waiving that right. And then they just turn around and just bust you in the ass with it. And you don't even pay that shit no attention. Okay? I don't care who you are out there. If you got anything from the government, all right, a license, whatever, okay? Public housing, Section 8, okay? A job, all right, a bank account, okay? You're dependent on the government. It's the worst thing you can do. You surrendered your sovereignty. All right. It's not about being a sovereign citizen. All men are sovereign. Read the case law. Chisholm versus Atlanta or Georgia, whatever it was. Many case laws. All men are sovereign. We all have rights, but you waive your sovereignty by dealing with this federal corporation. The state, all it is an instrumentality of the Fed. Look it up in the state. It'll tell you. State, District of Columbia, whatever, United States, territory of the United States. All right. The state is getting money from the United States. All right. The state is the United States bitch. The state works for the United States. That's why it's the nation's largest single employer. Gentlemen, it's been fun sharing my Saturday with you. I hope you learned something here today. All right. You can reach me at 4D_destroyer at yahoo.com if you wish to further your education. And I'm going to say it again, gentlemen. Do not send me a book of an email. I'm not going to read it. I don't have. Listen, we get close to 500-600 emails here a day. Okay. I'm still returning emails from 2 weeks ago. All right. If I sat here, say it quick and what you want. If you want help, just let me know. Hey, man, I need some help. Okay. If you want a phone consultation, say you want a phone consultation. If you want a webinar, say I want a webinar, which is something like this, but this is a live class where me and you will be in here on one-on-one. All right. Just tell me what you want. Don't tell me your story. I already know your story. You got a child support issue. That's all I need to know. Okay. Because what you want to know is how do I get rid of it? And we will show you. Okay. Keep it simple. All right. And the other thing, don't hit me. Does this work in this state? It works in every state, gentlemen. Child support is federal. Okay. The federal institutional dynamic match, the federal parent locator service, the national director of new hires. It works and it goes across every state. Okay. You ask me, just look, the dumbest question is the one you don't ask, but just don't ask a dumb question. All right. So, get up at me, bang my email. All right. I'll help you. Okay. If you want to know where to start, get online and download Section 8, the Federal Child Support Enforcement Program. Get online and download the Federal Glossary of Common Child Support Terms. Start there. I told you got to speak their language. This is a little bit more advanced, all right, because I can guarantee you, all right, all right, nobody else is aware of this information. Now everybody is, okay? Now you are. I have made you aware. You should be like Skynet. Now you've become self-aware, trying to do some mass destruction, okay? You want out of child support? Guess what? You need to learn what child support is doing and how it works, okay? You want out of child support? You can easily prove that they deprived you of due process of law right here, okay? And you can learn that, look, right out of the Federal Manual of Child Support. Again, you can use the Social Security application, okay? You could use the child support application. All this is evidence, gentlemen. This can be used against them. One person, all right, hit me up and let me know if you walked in there with this, all right? But, if they try to ignore it, you got to go in hard, gentlemen. Don't just, oh, well, sir, we're not here to discuss those matters. I'm here to discuss this. Here it is right here. Boom. This is Federal Manual of Child Support. This is the application for child support. This is Social Security application. This is the Glossary of Common Child Support Terms. It seems as though, sir, I've been deprived of due process of law. We got a problem here now, because deprivation of any rights under color of law is subject to 42 of 1983. I can sue you for that, and I'm going to sue you for it. Okay? I want to see the personal responsibility contract I allegedly signed. I want to know, when was it? All right, who told me orally or through in writing, all right, or by video audio equipment, of the legal consequences that arise? No, who told me with the Social Security number, which I thought was mine, and it's not. And I also thought it was used to get benefits from certain agencies. All right, but that's not the case here. It's being used to create a debt, and somehow, some way, I've become surety of that debt. That ain't my car. I wasn't driving the car on that day. Okay, send that ticket to the owner. I'm the Ahmed Osiris, gentlemen. You want out, then get out. All right, but it ain't going to just fall in your lap. All right, this is not a quick fix or a magic bullet. It's going to take you some time. Okay, anybody see that movie Shawshank Redemption? Now, I'm not going to say it ain't going to take 20 years. I just thought about that. That might have been the wrong thing to say. But anyway, pressure and time. Okay, you apply enough pressure and you take time, you can dig that hole through that wall. It will take 20 years to dig through the hole in child support's wall. It's rather thin, right? And it's right in front of your face. You just don't know how to use it. Okay, this is why we are an education service. All right, this is the information that you can listen anytime you come to a video, one of my videos, one of my presentations. You can always take something with you that you can use in your arsenal. Okay, you can always take something. There is always a link. There is always a case law. There is always statutes and code, whatever you are. There's everything you need. It's right there. You leave this video with something. Okay, you will always leave my presence with knowledge. I am the God of law. I am giving you something. I am bestowing upon you something. Take it and use it. All right. If you can't leave something or someone's presence without some knowledge, you're here. Why? Because you got an issue. You're trying to learn how to take care of that issue. What else should you be paying attention to? If you're not digging into the child support system and the 4D system and the provisions and the words and the definitions and the mail service, right? You're wasting your time. Okay? You're wasting your time. I listen, man. I listened to this podcast that was yesterday, man. I heard some of the funniest shit. Now here it is on this podcast. They're supposed to be talking about child support, and they're talking about, women cooking for you and oiling up and douching and fucking and sucking and $1 million for his woman to suck down. I mean, it was all kind of stuff, which was funny. It really was, and I'm not knocking it because again, it was on the pimp game. But then later in the podcast, it turned into a little bit of about child support. All right. And I thought they were going to take it to the right level, but actually they didn't. And then it went from there to it being, yeah, man, I got bitches paying off my truck. If a bitch like you, she give you anything. I'll show you how to run a background check. I mean, it was trippy. That's not learning how to deal with child support. Now, you want to learn how to be a pimp, then learn how to be a pimp. You want to learn how to remove yourself from child support, then get the proper education. All right, and I guarantee you will get one here. Now, what you get elsewhere, that is up to you. If you can't use it, okay, take this information that I've given you and use it, gentlemen. Master it. This is another deadly 4D technique. I've been on here too long. It's Saturday. I got to get back to work. All right, do what you want with it, folks. I wish you peace and success, and I'll see you very soon. Hotep.